Market Outlook Sunday today. Well, relaxed weekend first of all, but crypto markets have been moving and we shall look into those, which is why we also present the market update for the next week only on Sunday, because they look to be impacted in markets. What is going to be expected next week? What do we have on the data front? And what's going to be all with the overall picture is what we want to find out here today. So stay tuned and straight to markets and charts right now. Guys, welcome back and let's observe how the markets and the motivation might move. News-wise, we got something on Monday, PMI data from the Eurozone, French PMI data and German PMI data, the biggest two countries from the Eurozone, expected to rise somewhat. Will we see that the French data and especially the German one is going to upgrade itself? Will we see that the economy in the Eurozone will face further positivity? Well, the market momentum so far, in particular, looking at flash PMI in terms of the services sector, is going to kind of face some positivity potentially ahead. Looking at charts, there is further impact. The German DAX, however, had recently started to depreciate somewhat. This is the daily chart, and last week gave the market a bit of a twist to the upside, but now we are in some sort of shaky territory. The question is the market going to weaken further, maybe all the way towards the 50 moving average, which is currently starting to depreciate somewhat, or will we see that this is going to be a bit of a nice supportive trend zone here and the market going to kind of rise to the upside? We might see that either direction could face some positivity in terms of the impact in markets. However, in this case, it might also depend what's going to happen in the US. What's going to happen with tariffs, what's going to happen with the potential recession, and that's the next topic. Recession worries are not only something which is what we see, but bigger banks, Goldman Sachs actually being one of those, expecting as well that from the US we might face further negativity ahead and that downside momentum could increase, potentially leading to a recession, and that might tell us the NASDAQ 12% odd whatever a downside momentum, the S&P looking to weaken further. That's exactly how we would like to continue in our call here right now, because the market sentiment at the moment here looks set that the weakness and the downside motivation in markets is going to kind of continue. The big question mark here, will we see that the market is going to weaken further? And we have chances into either direction. We could see by the dip being something kind of quite interesting, the market leading to upside momentum again, which had seen the positivity kind of in the past happening further. And now the question mark is like, hey, the 50 moving average, is that going to be a technical zone pointing to further weakness? I might say I would agree so for now. However, the positivity might also be the case at the moment. Why? We see technical patterns pointing for upside motivation. We see that potentially the dollar weakness, which has been ongoing, euro dollar up, pound US dollar up, other currency pairs up against the greenback, leading to kind of better sales volumes in the US. The S&P 500, say 40% of those countries, companies obviously kind of derive their income from overseas out of the US. If the dollar gets cheaper, we get basically sales demand from other countries in terms of companies from the US potentially picking up momentum. So the company's data might give a bit of a lift to the markets, leading to an uplift in the index, leading to an uplift in the entire US economy. That's short term. So short term, I might say the market might be still ready to move higher. We are now kind of really resistance on the left, support on the right at an important support zone. We could see that 5,730 and higher levels are being retested medium term. I see this rather as a controlled demolition where I believe that the stock market will face tough times ahead, and maybe in the next couple of months, say, sell in May, the old saying, sell in May and go away, the old saying might have some positive impact here, leading towards April, maybe slightly higher, May, maybe I might not say bloodbath, but maybe a negative sentiment ahead. That's at least how the markets will look like at the moment. That's the S&P 500. And looking at the NASDAQ, short term, the NASDAQ index had weakened as well, but now it's just about to maybe cross to the upside again. And this looks like the market being potentially ready to push itself towards upside areas. That's maybe some line in the sand, and that directly would lead us to the crypto space, would lead us directly to what we expect here to potentially happen, where we might say, hey, crypto markets might kind of really face a positive momentum ahead. We might see that indeed the crypto space are going to basically strengthen. Shorter term candlestick patterns would point for upside. If the tech market, the NASDAQ in the US, is going to rise, then we would also have positivity for Bitcoin and all other or some other altcoins. Looking at the chart now, Bitcoin here, right at this 50 moving average, the market found a bottom. Well, so far so good. The market might rise further. Will we see even a break beyond this resistance area? The market might rise even further beyond this area, and then maybe even the 110, 115, 120,000 area is going to break and causing the uplift in markets. Dollar weakness would give naturally some upside momentum as well in this market, but however, long term, the question is really going to be how much of potential we see. Short term upside in the NASDAQ, in the S&P 500, short term upside in the tech companies here, or as well in the crypto space as we just examined. And that means as well Ethereum looking kind of quite interesting. Ethereum has weakened quite substantially. Guys, from all that high points here, that was just end of last year, roughly $4,000 down towards $2,000. You can do the math yourself, but the market went down about half, right, from what we've seen here based on recent motivation. And this might call for an upside as well short term, which is what I said. We've seen this before. High point here, 4,700 down all the way towards and below the 1,200 level. So there might be reason as well for these markets to just, if no upside is going to happen, to weaken further. And that's exactly how the monthly chart looks if we stay towards the end of the month. And this this upcoming week is maybe crucial. If we stay below the 2,000 psychological support zone, the market might weaken straight. If we see an upside or an uplift here, the market momentum might strengthen again. The market might move higher, causing positivity here with upside momentum kind of being on the cards. That's at least for Bitcoin and Ethereum. XRP, on the other hand, naturally starting to appreciate further. I still believe that XRP on the monthly chart had more room to the downside than compared to upside potential. That's how this market looks like. However, on the other hand, we see that crypto markets had weakened, right? Ethereum kind of back and lower, comparing it with XRP. One reason that any potential further information in regards to any ETFs, any developments, SEC, the lawsuit in the US, right? So that if we put this aside, there is room that further momentum seems to be the case, and traders, especially kind of also longer term guys who are hodling those XRP token, are looking for upside, which is why maybe less selling and more upside potential being expected. Similarly, the Solana coin had weakened as well, looking good, but the same story. If Bitcoin starts to appreciate, all altcoins are going to strengthen further. If we see negative setbacks, if we see all crypto markets or the entire crypto space is going to weaken further, we would see, or Bitcoin in particular, that all altcoins will follow. So that's the tricky situation with the crypto space and the crypto market. So stay tuned for our updates, and for the guys obviously here in our chat, we'll chat day in, day out, and look for trading opportunities in our WhatsApp group and at a weekly, or if not that, actually rather daily daily basis when talking markets. Oil markets are kind of quite interesting, and they give some potential preview. Weaker oil prices would help the economy to get the demand settled positively in a way, as the the oil price when weaker, offering companies to get quicker access and cheaper access actually for their basic energy, The long-term approach here still looks kind of quite tricky, as the market has been weakening so far. The support zone seems to be quite interesting here. If the market breaks this zone, we shall see that, and we could see that the market weakness is going to follow up further with downside motivation. Currently we see that the oil market remains shaky rather, and I'm an advocate. A break below 66.50, 67 US could cause this market to weaken further this week. Now we shall see, and I might expect short-term dollar weakness. Oil might get upside and uplift, just a natural uplift here based on these candlestick patterns. But medium term, if we see the market maybe lifting itself higher, let me kind of drive these zones here. Boom, to the downside, all the way resistance, to the downside, resistance again, support. Now we've tested these support zones here. The market went again to the upside, support here, resistance again, and the market now back at this area here. Is the question now, will we retest the 75 US dollar area? The upside, at least in this oil market, looks potentially feasible, at least as long as obviously kind of the momentum and the weaker momentum in regards to the greenback is gonna happen somehow. Further, the greenback motivation here obviously kind of being of positivity in this case. The economic calendar reveals as well, after what comes out on Monday, that next week is going to be starting tomorrow kind of rather on the weaker side of things when it comes to economic releases. Consumer prices from Australia on Wednesday, they are going to be important here. 2.5% was the recent data. I don't have the numbers as well since there was no update on the calendar. However, let's focus on the pound here. We see some slight weakening in the CPI data in regards to the pound. The budget from the Great Britain side is also going to be interesting. And fast forward Friday, we got as well retail sales. Let's not focus on those, but rather kind of check out how consumer prices are going to give us further insights and potentially further momentum in this market. The pound US dollar has been rising, and this looks kind of quite nicely up and rolling. However, at this current area, we see that there's some sort of resistance to be seen. There might be some negativity ahead. At the moment, I might say, okay, we could see that the market is naturally weakening. However, any lower levels might be used for entry opportunities, in particular with the 50 moving average being not far away, to see that the upside might continue in a positive way. Obviously, weaker consumer prices, and maybe they fall to 2.8, 2.7% whatsoever. Weaker data in the consumer price index will cause naturally the pound to weaken better than expected, and in this case, weaker than expected consumer prices will naturally draw the pound lower, as the central bank, the Bank of England, is expected to cut interest rates here. So downside momentum initially, medium term, maybe to the upside. The US has in particular a long-term interest as well to basically cause the market momentum to weaken, to basically cause as well that downside motivation for the greenback will be expected. Helps basically exports as well. US dollar weaker, exports in the US can grow, basically better for all American companies. Some other trading opportunities, a dollar against the Canadian dollar looking kind of quite interesting. A break of the low would release downside momentum. Break of the 143 area would release downside to continue. How's the EuroCAD? Well, stronger, however, not too much of a momentum being seen. Currently, this is a nice entry zone as well. The EuroCAD also weakening. Potentially, we see an array of weaker data after the strong breakout. Betting against the trend, maybe not so much of a good idea. However, betting against this technical retracement at this strong 158 resistance zone, yeah, much better idea. And this could unleash downside momentum with this market maybe being ready, the EuroCAD, to basically weaken as well somehow further. So that's how we look and see the current market situation in regards to the dollar CAD and maybe the the euro Canadian dollar as well. How is that with the dollar against the Swiss franc? Well, dollar Swissy, that was kind of quite interesting. We have been trading in a very strong sideways price pattern zone with exactly something we've seen many times over. The market hopping back and forth here, but at the center line, the market has been stopping, and that's exactly the line of engagement we see here. An upside here might correct this market here, or this trading candlestick pattern to the higher levels. However, a weakening candlestick pattern might also be on the cards. I would be rather an advocate of this. Dollar weakness maybe going to continue. Swiss franc strength maybe pulling this dollar Swissy to the downside. So there we go. This would be an interesting target. Further updates on this trade basically, as well as any other trading opportunities on our fxstrategies.asia channel. By the way, leave your comments under and below this video to not miss any updates as well. Subscribe to our channel. Looking forward to hear from you guys as well. Whatever you want me to talk about and want us to check upon, please don't forget to check out our website as well, and we are looking forward to see you here and doing our next edition. Obviously, further updates next week and an interview for those trading dividends and stocks. I have something interesting for you guys coming out next week, so please don't forget about this one and listen and check out the sneak preview once you get the link from our site here. Stay tuned. See you later. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.